Welcome back to today's economic news. I'm John, here to dissect another seismic event in the world of geopolitics, economics, and power plays that impact us all. Today, we are unraveling the intricate layers behind the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro just hours after a meeting with Chinese officials. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty details, consider this. We live in a world where billions are shuffled across continents with the blink of an eye, governments collapse seemingly overnight, and the average citizen, the taxpayer, the worker, well, they get left behind, shouldering the aftermath. It's about time we shine a light on these smoke and mirror tactics designed to undermine political autonomy under the guise of global diplomacy. Let me set the stage for you folks. Nicolás Maduro's tenure as Venezuela's leader has been nothing short of a tempest of economic breakdowns, widespread accusations of human rights abuses, and ongoing political strife. This can be traced back to the era of the Bolivarian Revolution under Hugo Chavez, a movement that aligned Venezuela intimately with leftist ideologies across the Latin American sphere. Fast forward a few years, and the interwoven acts of U.S. policies, specifically during the Trump administration, come into full play. They sought to marginalize Maduro on the world stage while propping up opposition factions within Venezuela's borders. But here's the twist. As the economic landscape in Venezuela crumbled since 2014, countries like China and Russia saw an opportunity. They vested billions into the Venezuelan oil sector, prompting the United States to dust off the old Monroe Doctrine, a doctrine aiming to limit foreign influence in the Americas. This rekindling of the doctrine is reminiscent of a high-stakes chess game between global powers vying for control, with Latin America caught in the crossfire. Before we dive deeper into today's debacle, let's pull out the calendar marks. July 2021, an unparalleled month that witnessed Maduro's capture. Just ahead of this, Trump had been in talks with U.S. Ambassador to China, David Perdue. The goal? To possibly counteract China's growing clout in regions deemed too influential for U.S. comfort. And what about the billions China funneled into Venezuelan infrastructure and resources? A lavish amount that could have uplifted a nation now funnels into foreign pockets to wield influence. Imagine if we orchestrated our household budgets the same way, splurging in hopes of control with little regard for long-term sustainability. And here is where the narrative splits in two. The Trump administration's story positions this maneuver as necessary for democracy's restoration and curtailment of regional drug trafficking. They label Maduro as an authoritarian, overstepping human dignity. A catchy narrative, yes, but not the full picture. Critics emphasize this military intervention as a stark example of American interventionism, a reminder of history's ill-fated sovereignty breaches masquerading as democracy promotion. Let's not overlook the contradiction here. While the U.S. challenges others for territorial dominance, similar strategies unfold as it seeks geopolitical leverage. Let's chew on the hard data now. We know that China had provided billions to Venezuela. What does that mean for everyday Venezuelans? Consider this. These funds, originally purposed to strengthen the economy, have instead bound them in a financial tug-of-war between superpower governments, and the billions have transformed into strings pulling at the very sovereignty of their nation. As tensions escalated, Chu Shiroki, representing the Chinese government, remarked China is deeply shocked and strongly condemns the U.S.'s blatant use of force against a sovereign state. Indeed, a sentiment reflecting not only diplomatic dismay, but also a question of power dynamics on the world stage. And now, echoes of libertarian philosophy sound throughout this tangled narrative. Let us consider the inflationary theft that blazes in the wake of such U.S.-led actions, military force, and the sanctions that shadow and amplify economic distress, pressing ordinary civilians into the vice of a decaying economy where bread costs nearly as much as a day's wages. Government incompetence again rises to the fore. Historically, interventions like these further spiral situations into chaos rather than providing stabilizing solutions. The same chaotic mismanagement all too familiar to those who believe less government leads to better outcomes. We see the inevitable loss of liberty mirrored in this tale as well, ever more stringent as martial postures impose themselves under the pretense of countering narcotics, This coercive presence can petrify the promise of liberty any nation prepares to offer its citizens, future be damned. It's a scenario where average individuals become collateral to geopolitical chess moves, losing personal freedoms to externally imposed governance. Here's your takeaway. If standing against foreign exploits summoning chaos is resonating with you, you're not alone. The American dream wasn't built on the backs of needless warfare and economic betrayal. We ought to stand against being pawns in such geopolitical games. And if you're as fed up with subsidizing these disastrous foreign policies as I am, then join the movement. Hit subscribe, stay informed, and be a part of the conversation that refuses to settle. Until next time, this has been John with today's economic news. Thank you for tuning in.